So, unless you've been living under a rock, you know about the SSSniperWolf situation online. And I have not interacted with her content any way, shape, or form, but I just know because if you have been on these platforms, you know who she is. She is promoted so much. And the sad part is that she basically does it while using other people's hard worked on content. And that leads into why she's in the news this time because Jax Films made a satire about her content, which is actually very true. And that's the thing about comedy. The funniest to me is when it's absolutely true. I'm not a fan of Jax Films either, but I do have to say that she did take things pretty far, and the whole internet is ganging up on her right now at this moment. Which good, you need to hold her accountable for what she did. You should not be putting someone in danger while giving away their location of living when you have a following that's dedicated to you. Especially the fact that I actually know a guy who had copied his gamer tag off of her username because he was that in love with her, and that guy would do some really weird stuff in her name that I am not going to repeat. So there's some pretty unhinged stands out there, and that is why. You just never know the weirdos who spend countless hours online wasting their lives on TV, the internet, video games. So I feel like putting her on blast for what she did is a good temporary thing to do, but long-term people need to just stop acknowledging her existence. Because I recommend Black Widow Company's documentary on her, and you just understand how this person operates. Because this isn't the only time she has been put on blast, and I recommend going to watch that documentary because there's also that section he talks about where she had some help fabricating and putting an illusion on her content, and it was basically all committed on fraud. But also the kind of fandom, cosplay-ish community that she had used to gain her following. I used to hang around that place, so I know how to navigate that place quite a bit. Yes, allegedly YouTube has demonetized all of her channels apparently. But based on how much she brings into the company, I don't know if that's going to last a very long time because at the end of the day, money's what makes the world go around. And as much as people try to preach about, how much they, hate capitalism, they will pounce at the opportunity to make a lot of income very quickly. It's just human nature. But when you're dealing with that fandom type style people, right? The best thing you can do is not play their games and not pay attention to them. Because in cases like this, that very well applies. There's some exceptions that I could go into, but I want to stay on topic here. There's this movie I watched in middle school that really comes to mind called Merlin. Featuring Sam Neill as Merlin. And if you watch that movie, at the end, the way he beats the bad guy is by basically just walking away, because as much as he fights her and throws venom at her, the funny thing is she thrives off of that attention. So he realizes that the only way is just by everybody not acknowledging her existence. So therefore, they finally vanquish her. And that is the thing, not just about SSSniperWolf, but anybody who falls under the category of person that she is they just want the attention because that is how they thrive. For real, because we live in a very ego-driven society, and the thing about ego, especially hers, is you gotta not feed it, and you could feed someone's ego in a lot of different ways. Just kind of like when I had a coworker who was also part of that fandom thing, who would constantly try and withhold information on how to do the job correctly. So I would be dependent on him so no one can usurp him or take a promotion so he could take lunch breaks to go consume more internet content on the job because he was lazy. I ignored everything he said and then went around and asked other people for advice. And then when he confronted me, I just completely didn't even acknowledge what he was saying. Worked like a charm because he understood that I had found out what had gotten to him, what had made him tick the most. I had completely figured him and everybody like him out. And there's a lot of other people like that, but it all relates to the similar type of person that Sniper Wolf is. Same of when I was hanging out in that fandom community and someone just wanted to start drama out of nowhere because they were bored, they had nothing to do, and then they would try and act like they were my friend later to try and rekindle the friendship, but I had an IQ above 5, so all I would do is just ignore them. They would send me texts, I would respond with one word, and it would drive them insane because I wasn't feeding their ego. And I see something similar happening with the Sniper Wolf thing if people just stop acknowledging her existence. Like, for real, she is going to become a huge waste of energy in the near future because the more you micromanage what she's saying and how she's saying, oh, I'm taking time off because things have been really hard for me, good. The more you read into it, the more it helps her. That's good news for her. So what you guys got to do is you guys got to stop reading her Instagram messages and just leave her alone. And that could be the best punishment you give her if you really, the internet, are turning against her. Because short term, yes, she might be demonetized, but I think that's going to come back. And then what happens when it comes back? She's still going to have everybody's attention. And then she's going to come back and thrive even more. And then we are going to go in circles again with her. Why do I say this? Because if you watch the Black Widow Company documentary on her, which is very informative, you have realized this is not her first rodeo. So ignoring her is a long-term solution. So because I see a lot of people entertaining ideas of giving out her location and retaliating in real life, and that's the worst thing that you could possibly do. The best thing you could do is very legal by the book and definitely in terms of conditions. And sometimes the best thing to do is nothing at all. But that is what I have to say about this Sniper Wolf situation. It is a long-term fix. Just walk away. Peace out. I will see you next video.